Hi, my name is Jordan Seaver, and today we are going to be going over the evolution of leadership from inherent trait approaches to process leadership. Leadership theory has evolved significantly over time, highlighting changes in the way experts view what makes leadership effective. Today we will dive into the widespread studied leadership styles over the last decade. The Great Man Theory. It was earliest recorded leadership theory emerging in 1840s. It was heavily influenced by historian Thomas Carlyle. He conceptualized that a great leader was born a natural leader rather than shaped and molded by education, experiences, and abilities. The term great man came about because at that time women were not seen fit to be leaders. While we still hear phrases today such as he was born for the job, there are some problems with this theory. Not all people who would be considered natural leaders become great leaders. Also, it oversimplifies leadership by neglecting factors that contribute to a person becoming a great leader, such as an upbringing, education, experience, and social status. The next theory is trait theory. It was developed in the 1930s to 1940s in response to the great man theory. This theory argues that leaders can be born or made. Trait theory focuses on what traits make up an effective leader, such as self-confidence, determination, and sociability, which can be acquired but must be possessed by a great leader. By the 1950s, there was no consistent list of traits that could be definitively listed as making up an effective leader. There are still today psychometric tests that use principles of the trait theory to identify personality traits that can improve personal and team growth, and they're commonly used in hiring new staff. The next theory we're going to look at is behavioral theory. It emerged in the 1940s to 1950s and originated from the work of psychologists John Watson and B.F. Skinner. They analyzed how leaders act in different situations and identified certain behaviors and styles that contribute to successful leadership. Two key studies were done, the Ohio State Leadership Studies and the University of Michigan Studies. The Ohio State's two essential components of leadership is initiating structure and consideration. Initiating structure is about how a leader organizes tasks and defines roles. Leaders in this category tend to set goals, create plans, and make sure expectations are clear. In contrast, consideration describes how much a leader cares about and respects their team members' well-being. Leaders under this category focus on people, building relationships, and offer encouragement and support. The University of Michigan's two essential components of leadership are task-oriented behavior and relationship-oriented behavior. The task-oriented behavior focuses on setting and completing goals and tasks, using resources effectively to create productivity and efficiency. Relationship-oriented behavior is focused on building relationships among teams by promoting collaboration, high communication, and keeping mental and health well-being as a top priority. Findings from these studies and from the psychologists led to more studies that categorized leaders into diverse types such as authoritative and democratic, which produced more concepts about leadership behaviors that are still used today. In the 1960s came about the contingency theory from Fred Fiedler, who believed that the past theories neglected to include situational factors and contingencies that have effect on organizations. Contingencies can involve things like how the economy is doing, whether skilled workers are available, the company's culture, government policies, and environmental factors such as climate change. Fiedler theorized that leaders lead best when their style fits the situation rather than changing their natural leadership style to fit the situation. He believed there were two types of leaders, those who focus on tasks and those who focus on relationships. It was argued that this theory had two major limitations. One was that the oversimplification of only two leadership styles, task-oriented and relationship-oriented, as well as that leaders couldn't adopt their leadership style to the environment that they were in. After contingency theory, situational theory came about, and it was introduced in 1974 by Dr. Paul Hersey and author Kenneth Blanchard. This theory emphasizes that great leaders can adapt their leadership approach to best fit the demands of the task or situation at hand. They do not need to be put in the best fit environment to their natural leadership style in order to succeed. This theory defined 4 core leadership styles. Telling, which is the leader tells follower what task to do and how to do it. Selling, which is more conversational between leader and follower, with leaders selling their concepts and ideas to hopefully gain the followers' buy-in. Participating, it allows group members to have a more active role in brainstorming and making decisions with less direction from the leader. And delegating, which is a hands-off approach, allowing group members to take on greater responsibility and make most decisions. After this, they went on to identify maturity, competency, and commitment levels of followers, and then theorized that the leadership styles used needs to be adjusted to the maturity, competency, and/or commitment level of the follower. For instance, if a follower has a low maturity level, their skills are not there, they have a low level of understanding the job or just brand new, then the leader would need to use the leadership style of telling, which is more direct, telling the follower what to do, how to do it, and being more hands-on. By being flexible and adjusting their style to fit the situation or needs of their followers, leaders can help their teams perform more successfully. Transactional leadership was introduced in 1947 by German sociologist Max Weber and later developed further by Bernard M. Bass in the 1980s. There is an understood transactional system between leader and follower to either punish or reward as motivation and direction for followers. Goals and tasks are clearly defined, and followers are rewarded for their successes and have consequences when they do not hit deadlines. The fundamental principles are that individuals perform best when there is a structured chain of command. Motivation thrives off a system of rewards and consequences. Followers are to prioritize the leader's instructions, and close supervision is necessary to achieve optimal performance. This theory is great for driving high achievement results in a no-nonsense environment. It lacks innovation and creativity as well as achieving long-term goals, as the focus is usually short-term for quick reward. It also lacks in collaboration as it fosters a competitive environment rather than a sense of community. Transformational leadership theory. This is one of the current and most popular approaches to leadership. James V. Downton first coined the term transformational leadership in 1973 and was further developed by James Burns in 1978. Burns argued that followers are driven by a leader's vision and character, which inspires them to raise their expectations, motivation, and moral standards. In 1990, Bernard Bass expanded on this idea, developing what we now know as Bass's transformational leadership theory. He established methods for assessing and measuring the effectiveness of transformational leadership and emphasized the importance of a leader's authentic desire to motivate and uplift followers. Bass proposed followers should experience feelings of trust, loyalty, admiration, and respect to their leaders, which creates a sense of purpose, motivation, and inspiration that goes beyond their perceived limitations. The fundamental principles of transformational leadership continues today, showing adaptability across industries, especially within collaborative environments. Final takeaways from this presentation. The evolution of leadership theories shows how concepts about effective leadership have developed over time. The early theories of the great man and the trait theories focused on personal traits and characteristics that make up a great leader. The behavioral, contingency, and situational theories introduced the idea of leadership behaviors and actions across different environments. The more recent approaches like transactional and transformational leadership theories emphasize the importance of relationships between leaders and followers and the roles of motivation, vision, and expectations. Overall, the evolution of these theories shows us that leadership cannot be simplified to one factor, but is influenced by multiple factors such as character traits, behavior, environment, and relationships. Thank you so much.